Hello everybody and welcome to our coverage of the tiebreak of the Russian Superfinal. This is a very last minute decision. I wasn't gonna cover it, but our friend Peter Svidler has made it to shared first place and is now playing a tiebreak against Nikita Vityugov. And if Peter Svidler were to win this game, he would, I believe, win his 8th Russian champion title. Is that what you call it? Russian individual title. So it seemed like a fun little match to try to keep up with. And yeah, I'm absolutely unprepared, both for this opening and about the Russian Superfinal in general. Honestly, I wasn't paying much attention when I looked once. Svidler had like 4.5 out of 8. And it seemed like he had no shot of making it. But he did win his last 2 games against Fedoseev, who lost an endgame that he should have drawn with the white pieces the other day. And then against Malakhov today. I haven't studied the game yet, but it seemed like he crushed him. So he made it to this tiebreak on 7 out of 11, together with Nikita Vityugov. These two guys know each other quite well. I do know that at least in the first time, I'm not sure if it was the first time, but I believe 3 years ago when Peter played in the candidates, Vityugov was the main guy, together with Maxim Matlakov, behind his opening preparation and making sure that Svidler was very well prepared there. So it's a bit of an awkward situation, I'm sure, for both, having worked together, that now they have to face each other. Their classical game ended peacefully. Then again, what can you do? It's rapid chess, and both sides will try to capture that title for themselves. It's a common situation in chess. That you have to play against your friends or your colleagues that you've worked with, one point or another. So let's have a look at the opening. Looks like both not in the mood for big theoretical debates. Vityugov went for the Trompovsky, d4, knight f6, bishop g5. I prefer the move d5 here, which I covered in my video series on how to deal with all these sidelines. Svidler plays now the main line, the move e6, sort of daring white to go e4, trading central control for the 2 bishops. But Vityugov plays a more flexible move, plays knight d2, h6, bishop h4, and Svidler says, nah, no e4 for you, I'll go d5, e3, c5, c3. Plays knight bd7, which is interesting. At first you might want to play this knight on c6, but on d7 it reinforces his colleague on f6. And after b6, bishop b7, in some lines is also useful that this knight can jump into e4 and is supported by the bishop on b7. So both sides sort of freestyling here. c3, knight bd7, bishop d3. Note that white doesn't commit to knight f3 just yet, but keeps the option of pushing f4 in one move. But Svidler says there's a price to pay for that flexibility. Before you go for your fancy little f4 or knight to f3, I'm going to push in the center myself, play e5, which would be too risky had white not just played bishop d3. His point is that now after takes, black wins at least half the tempo by hitting this bishop on d3. I like his opening play so far. This knight bd7, interesting move, and e5, very aggressive way to solve the black problems. Vityugov is not impressed, just ignores it, goes knight to e2, continues to develop. But let's say bishop d6. I don't see any particular problem in the black position. Bishop d6 or bishop e7, both seem legit. So far so good. Looks like the players successfully managed to delay the battle into the middle game. This is not a sharp opening discussion. And yes, Svidler plays bishop e7, most natural move, breaking this pin, preparing to castle. We'll see what happens. I haven't done any commentary for a while. I forgot what this feels like. Like, you actually have to explain like other people's moves. What do I know? Those are like 2 750 world-class players. Speaking of 2 750 world-class players, Svidler, with his last round win, just broke into the world's top 10. Believe it or not, you probably believe it since I just said it. And why would I lie to you? But yeah, shout out to him. Big finale, and that does reflect in his rating. Here we see it, 2767. I'm not sure what his all-time high is, I guess. Somewhere nearby, maybe. 2780, maybe. Not sure, but impressive stuff at age 41. Peter Svidler, almost the oldest player, in the top 10 now, if it weren't for Vladi. Kramnik not participating in this Russian Superfinal. Neither was Grishuk or a name that's barely still on the list, Sergei Kayakin. But still, these are very, very tough tournaments. There's no real weak spots, because even the lesser-known players like, I don't know, Shugirov are extremely tough 2-6-50, battle-hardened professionals. So to win these kinds of tournaments with the consistency that Svidler has, he's pretty much winning every other year. Or he hasn't won this one yet, but shared first, is incredibly impressive. All right, what can I tell you about the position? Of course, the big question is how the tension in the center gets resolved. Svidler is in no particular hurry to push e5, e4. Had he done this here, for example, Vityugov would just go away, and then he would have two ways to break up the black center. He could go c4, or he could go f3. And it's overcommitting by black, or committing too early, to go for this. Because, yeah, white would carry the keys to the lockdown. Instead, castle's very natural. And Vityugov now has to figure out what to do. He could think about e4, but I guess that runs into some desperado measures. Let me try to explain. No, it just blunders a pawn, actually. What I was gonna say is that after bishop e7, maybe you could try to sell this knight's skin at the highest possible price by going knight takes f2, and then take on d1. But instead, you can also just take here and then here, attacking this. Hang on, Tekyan is going to do something, but it's going to be beneficial to our viewing experience, or at least I certainly hope so. But it might take Tekyan a while to figure this out. And yes, Tekyan is a douche who invents characters for himself and then speaks about them in the third person, taking pride in being horrible at adjusting this live thing. See, he's really not very gifted. What I'm trying to do is bring us live camera pictures from over there, and I believe I will manage, but it will take a while. Come on, let me do this. Oh, that's too much. No, don't cut my head off. All right. I wish I was a little bit taller. Anyway, this didn't happen in the game. In the game, something very different happened. After castles, Vityugov played bishop g3, saying, "Please, commit, sir." And Svidler took on d4, e takes d4, and rook e8. So he's not a fan of this e4 even, having received an invitation in form of bishop g3, and instead prefers to play this structure, rook e8, daring white to give him isolated pawns. An isolated pawn, that is, sorry. And here we are. We just asked for permission from the organizers and our friends at Chesscast if I could use this little video so we can see what's going on there. And they gave us the permission, so thanks a lot for that. Now all we need is the board out of the way and Svidler's hat in here so we can see more. Because Nikita Vityugov, he has a poker face. It's gonna be very hard to read him. Well, Svidler, less of a poker face. But it's gonna be very, very hard to read any emotion from his hairline there, which is not receding. Shout out to Peter. Full head of hair there at age 41. Must be nice. DC5 played by Vityugov. He does say, all right, you want to play with an IQP, as we like to call it, an isolated queen's pawn. Be my guest. Fiedler's probably going to go knight takes c5, winning a tempo against this bishop. After bishop c2, the question will be, can white manage to stabilize and then torture black for the next 18,000 moves with his positional weakness on d5? Or can black generate some initiative before white manages to stabilize? Options to do that could be queen b6 or bishop to g4. Just as I'm saying all of this, Vityugov plays another move that I had not seen coming. He just goes bishop b5, targets the rook, and Fiedler exchanges the bishops. Bishop takes, queen takes. Generally, we're taught in chess school that exchanging pieces favors a side that does not have the isolated pawn. But here things are a little trickier, especially since this light squared bishop for white would have been quite a good piece on this diagonal. Now the structure is very reminiscent of a very theoretical French, where often via a completely different opening. Something like this. You wouldn't go knight c5 here, but you get very similar positions. Compared to that, black has a slightly better version. The bishop on g3 is not ideal. His pieces are a little more developed, so I would guess that gives him enough initiative to compensate for his IQP here. Could take, put another knight on e4, put the bishop on f6. All in all, looks fairly reasonable for Fiedler. Here we see a bit more of his face. Not the whole face, but at least some. No. If we can call it emotion. He's thoughtful, he's concentrated. The board lags, like, I guess, a couple seconds behind, as the video typically does, behind the live moves. So I can use my clairvoyant skills predicting moves that he's about to play, because they already pop up here in my system. So Fiedler boy, he's coming to Hamburg on, I believe, the 19th, so in 5 days, before he goes to play the World Rapid and Blitz. I'm not sure if he wins this event. Maybe he has to stay back for a couple victory laps, some events. But of course, it will be a pleasure to have him around. Hopefully we can get him to do some banter blitzes, maybe some other stuff. Been a while since Fiedler has been in town. I do hope. This is a biased show. I have nothing bad to say against Nikita Vityugov, but Fiedler, of course, is our colleague and friend here at chess24.com. Has been a good friend of mine for many years now. So I'm rooting for him in this show. Also will make his visit nicer, won't it? Like, he'd be upset if he lost this tiebreak and didn't add to his body count when it comes to Russian individual titles. Knight b3 played by Vityugov, trying to simplify. Black should put this knight here, and I believe that's the move Peter will play. Well, we are switching to what I can only assume, I'm so uninformed, but it's a fair guess. The tiebreak for the women's title between Natalia Pogonina and Alexandra Goryashkina there. On camera, I must admit, I haven't followed the tournament a whole lot, but I'm willing to learn. Let me find some browser window. Very hard to find a browser window in this day and age. Oh, we should talk about the prices I just read in the chat. Our dear friend Mr. Dodgy points out that there is also a car for the winner. I believe a new Renault sponsored by, my best guess is Renault. Of course, I could be wrong. So, a lot at stake here. I'm guessing some monies as well. I haven't looked at the prize fund, but there's a car to be won for Peter. What was I going to check? The Russians Women's Championship Superfinal. Yep, Pogonina and Goryashkina also tied on 7 out of 11. 7-11, a place I go to frequently. Not so much in Germany, it's not that popular here. But 7-11, very popular in many other countries. And they're open pretty much 24/7, so the name 7-11 is bit misleading. Black is fine here, by the way. This knight on a4 always does a very good job of crippling the white queen side, because you have to keep an eye on b2, and it's almost impossible to ever change the pawn structure here by going b3 and c4, because whenever you go b3, then the pawn on c3 will drop. So this knight on a4, typical device to put pressure on black, on the white structure here. And if you just go b5, threatening b4, I guess white goes a3. I'd take black already. It's not clear how white wants to put pressure on this guy. The bishop on g3 is a little misplaced. If it was on e3, white could go bishop d4, and he'd be much happier. But this position looks very pleasant for black. Knight b6, knight c4. b5 played, and Vityugov did not play a3, went rook a d1. Ah no, sorry, Svidler started with rook a c8, rook a d1, and now b5, and now it's white to move. Yeah, Mr. Dodgy is saying 1 million rubles at a car is the best price ever. I don't know how much 1 million rubles is, but I'm guessing there's some money to be made there. Ah, 1 second. Me silly. All right, let's use our doctorate in body language reading and try to figure out the Iceman. I believe they called him the Iceman, Nikita Vityugov, after he won one of these Gibraltar tiebreaks. I'm not sure I endorse that nickname, because the Iceman, isn't that a famous serial killer? I think it's already taken. But also a basketball player they call the Iceman, right? The Iceman, George Gervin. I don't know. I'm not sure if I can subscribe to the Iceman as a nickname for Nikita Vityugov. But it does imply that he has pretty good nerves. And I just mentioned the tiebreak in Gibraltar, which he won. So he has a bit of experience in those things. Peter Svidler, of course, very famously or infamously lost the tiebreak against Sergei Karyakin in the World Cup, which year was it? 2015, where he was leading 2-0 in the classical final. Then Karyakin came back to level the scores and won. Very dramatic tiebreak. But I'm sure he's won plenty of tiebreaks in his life as well. This is the game between Pogonina and Goryashkina, where Goryashkina is fine. Bishop b7, rook b8. Then the horse can jump to d3, bishop f6. Yeah, black's doing well. By the way, see, I haven't done commentary for a while. I'm all over the place. By the way, the time situation, as far as I know, is 15 minutes plus 10 seconds increment per move. So the players, this is a weird hybrid. It's not exactly a blitz game. It's rapid chess, sort of fast rapid chess. But these 10 seconds increments sort of guarantee that things will never get too crazy. After b5, a3, to my surprise, I gotta say, Svidler took on g3, exchanging this bishop for his nice knight, which I don't like. Looks like it's taking pressure off white. After knight g3, hg, black should still be fine, but it looked like this bishop was stupid. Maybe he was afraid that the bishop would regroup to f4 and e3. But now, knight b6, heading for c4. I've talked about the knight being nice on a4, but it would be even nicer on c4. So that move I can get behind. But now with this bishop exchange, it just looks easier for white to stabilize somehow. Knight c4, knight e2, good move by Vityugov. Seemed like the knight was already doing well on d4, but this is sort of like this old Bent Larsen Maxime, who said, I don't really want to blockade, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, I don't want to blockade the isolated pawn. I want to take it. And knight e2, intending to go knight f4, does just that. Develops activity against the one black weakness. And now, yes, since there's no longer this pesky knight or this bishop to worry about, looks like white is fine. I don't think he's better necessarily. Maybe Svidler can just go g5 to stop knight f4. But it does seem like the trend currently is Vityugov's friend. What are we discussing? The prices? I'm reading that 1 million rubles is 15,000 euros. Is that accurate? Let's find out. 1 million rubles in euros. Yeah, 15,000 euros and a car. So quite a bit at stake here. Peter Svidler. I don't think the players will think about the car or the monies here. Chess players just don't, especially since in this tiebreak you don't have to think strategically, oh, if I make a draw or whatever, I can make that much money. It's about winning or losing, so thinking about what's in the pool won't do anybody any good. And at least from my experience, most chess players don't really think about money while they're playing the game. But of course, that's a nice little price there. I'm not sure what the car is. Certainly would be nice for these rights to Svidler's dacha outside St. Petersburg. You know, I do believe they already have a car. Queen b7, yeah, as I said, the trend is now in white's favor, who can, well stabilized, can go rook d3, rook d1, knight f4. It looks like Peter was drifting just a little bit, starting with this. Knight takes g3, and maybe, even though the plan was completely logical, knight c4 was not ideal either because of the knight c4. This knight e2, intending to go to f4, is, yeah, more of a headache than expected. CP Kauton says, see information tab, Jan. What's in the information tab? Is there a secret message for me? Ah, how much rubles are worth. Thanks. And a Renault Captur car. What's a Renault Captur? See, Renault already get their money's worth for sponsoring that car, because the bazillions of viewers that are watching this coverage will now see, oh, that's a fancy car. Maybe I should get a Captur for myself. And there you go. That's one picture I just took from Google showing a Renault Captur. Captur or Capture? Maybe it's a chess-inspired car. But no, probably they wouldn't call it capture, because yeah, someone used it to capture people. That wouldn't be the intention, right? So I'm gonna go with Captur. What Svidler wants to avoid is that Vityugov captures this pawn on d5. Therefore, he just defended it. But rook d3, intending rook fd1, looks like a very straightforward plan. The problem is now you can no longer go g5, because whenever you go g5, leaves a glaring hole on the h5 square. So you can never do that. Therefore, this knight is quite stable. What have they done? Maybe I should sometimes look at the moves actually played. And knight h5 was played, even without this g5 invitation. To which Svidler replied with bishop e7. This bishop can always get out of the way, go to f8 or go to c5. Well, it's not clear what the knight on h5 is doing, and Vityugov says, I want to checkmate you. Go knight d4, knight f5. But it looks to me like I play bishop f8. This should hold the fort quite comfortably. Chess2Mare says, lol, I like how unprepared Jan is. Yeah, I didn't prepare anything. I wasn't planning to do this. But I thought it was fun to watch the tiebreak live and sweat Mr. Svidler. But I haven't even seen all the games of the event. I barely knew. No, from just looking, that Vityugov and Svidler shared first, as I said, when I checked in. The first time with the tournament, Svidler had like 4.5 out of 8 and it didn't look like he could make it. But boom! All you have to do is beat Fedoseev with black, Malakhov with white, and there he is, playing for the Renault Cup Tour and the monies. Now the next question is, can Goryashkina also capture a Cup Tour, or is it only the winner of the, I guess, open section? As for the position, Egalite with black scoring some points for more active pieces, but after, let's say, Bishop e2, yeah, Bishop e2 played, seems like white is still comfortably holding together the queen side, since whenever black captures on b2, c4 will fall. c4 will fall, and it should just be fine for black. Or it should just be fine for white. Draw. What are we talking about? Bram van Einatten says, you think Svidler followed my advice and avoided walking into doors. Is that a thing? Did he walk into a door once? Ambitious Pawn is saying, how long would be cool to road trip with Peter, talking cricket, chess and movies? That sounds... yeah. Sounds good, especially the cricket talk. King of Lego People says, ambitious, he would never let you speak. Nah, that's not true. Niels Rose says, Svidler would probably would listen to bad audiobooks. Is he an audiobooks guy? I haven't seen him listen to a lot of audiobooks. I guess he does it a bit. I don't know what he does. So what are we talking about? Ambitious Pawn wants to have Svidler drive him around in his new Renault Cup Tour? But if he's driving, he can't focus on the cricket talk as well. Or maybe I misunderstood and they're planning a different road trip. And Slavov says the women champion gets a car too, the same car. So probably they both get a Renault Cup Tour. And it's not like, let's say, Svidler and Goryashkina, to just pick two random names, would have to share. It's not a drive sharing situation where Svidler gets the car from, let's say, Monday till Wednesday, and then he has to give it to Goryashkina. The way I understand it, it's two separate cars with the same brand. What's happening? Fuchsia is saying Herr Carter has just hit the lag button again. Is that some elaborate description that the show is lagging? If it's just the chat, I'll survive. No offense meant to the chat. But yeah, what can you do? What's this game? One problem with rapid chess is they tend to make moves quite rapidly. So one has to adjust to changing landscapes. And yeah, I wasn't a fan of this knight h5, knight d4 operation. Svidler played g6 and put the bishop back on f6, ruling out any future knight h5s. And the knight on d4 weirdly shelters the pawn on d5 once again. Rook e1, rook e4 looks like an excellent move. Threatening, quote unquote threatening, to maybe take here, giving white an isolated pawn as well. So Vityugov goes away, goes knight f3. Svidler goes a5, looks good too. Intending b4. And it looks like he's recaptured the momentum here. Knight d2. Rook takes e1. Rook takes e1. And now black, if he so chooses, could already go d4. Rid himself of his weakness. If anybody's better here, it's black. Guessing it's still kind of equal. But if anybody better, black better. Svidler goes b4 instead. Probably also leading to simplifications. Takes, something like this. Here, same thing. If anybody's better, it's black. Because such situations can often be quite awkward, even though it's equal material. Should this b2 pawn ever fall, this guy would just be such a powerhouse. So maybe Vityugov. Oh yeah, maybe he can take here immediately without knight c4 dc. And then oh, tactics. Tactics. Does this work? Yeah, queen d2, knight f6 check. Rook d5 check. King g7, knight c4. All of a sudden, white would be a pawn up. I'm guessing black can somehow recapture the pawn, rook b5 or whatnot. At least it would solve all of white's problems. So Vityugov might be contemplating such things right here, right now. What's going on here? Is Pogonina still in trouble? Or last time I said she was in no trouble whatsoever, so still in trouble. Sounds wrong. But it looks like black got the maximum. Fix this with a4 as well. And I was intending to bring the king. Should still be drawish. But yeah, got to pay some attention. Bishop d1 maybe to target this guy. Then, yeah. Now she goes bishop d2. I wasn't sure if I have knight b2, bishop c4 anyway. So probably rook b2. Takes. This should be a draw somehow. Well, pawn is a pawn though. Still work to do for Pogonina to hold that position. And in this Svidler game, we do have the position I was talking about earlier. Vityugov did not go for the cb4, but instead went knight c4 dc, which practically is very nice for Svidler, because now he runs pretty much zero risk of losing, and has quite some winning chances, because this pawn is weak. cb4, queen b4 will be played. As I was talking about, such positions can be a little awkward for white. You have to probably go passive trying to defend this pawn. And if you do, black can just improve his position. Let's say rook to b1. Rook to d2 is unpleasant. Rook to e4, trying to exchange these guys, and rook to d4. If you take, bishop takes. Hard to defend this guy. So, a little something to work with. Draw still a favorite, but a little something. I'm trying to check out the chat. What can you guys tell me? Didn't learn much. Dutch defender is bored of the rings. Aren't they? Didn't I hear some Lord of the Rings talk recently? What was it? Did Amazon buy the rights for Lord of the Rings stuff? They were planning a TV show? Is that it? I don't know. Svidler would know. Svidler knows such things. But does Svidler also know how to win this position? Of course, rook c1, he can't make a draw by taking on b2 any way he pleases. But I believe he is justified in playing on. Going rook d4, keeping this pawn alive, which, yeah, is a bigger headache for white than vice versa, the pawn on b2. And the rook also covers the most crucial square for the black knight, for the white knight, sorry. So, still some problems to be solved for Nikita Vityugov. Now queen b3 could be in the making. I don't know what white should play. Queen b3 would be a typical idea to gain a bit more space. Yeah, it's not too pleasant to play this with white. One question we have to ask is, can you do stuff like this? He didn't, so maybe we don't have to ask the question. But I guess there's no perpetual here. Bishop g7, queen e8, queen f8, black defense. Queen e2 plate. Keeping an eye on this guy, preparing to give a check. Normal reaction would be king g7, just in case we don't miss. We don't want to have to think about that check later. So get out of the way now. Let's resolve the important questions. Mr. Dodgy says there is a new Lord of the Rings TV series coming. Yeah, that's what I thought. And someone's asking, can someone tell me the rules for this playoff? Is what GM Scuzzball is wondering. I can tell you the rules for this playoff. They play 2 rapid games with a time control of 15 minutes plus 10 seconds, increment per move. Should the score be 1-1 after these 2 rapid games, they will play what we like to call an Armageddon game. And that is not guessing. The actors from the movie Armageddon, hint, Ben Affleck is in it, but instead means white gets 5 minutes, black gets 4 minutes, and white has to win, because if the game ends in a draw, black wins. Game and tournament, set and match. King h2, whoa, that allows h4. Tread carefully, Mr. Vityugov, because now this is a very nasty looming threat after hg. If you have to go fg, your pawns are weak. And if you have to go king g, your king is out in the opening. So Svidler, chances here. Pretty good chances. Pretty good chances. That's one thing I can share about Svidler that I find very confusing. That's probably because he's a decent human being. He does not enjoy watching Curb Your Enthusiasm. He finds it cringe-worthy. Just like my TH there, cringe-worthy. He can't watch it. Or he can't watch it is probably a bit strong, but he's not a big fan. While I think it's the funniest thing ever made. But whenever I try to get him into it, he says, nah, it's too awkward to watch. It's kind of the point. Queen f3. If takes, does he just want to go fg and toughen it out? I guess so, but it's awkward, isn't it? King looks weak now. Some ideas like this start appearing. Yeah, hg, fg has been played. Cameraman has a bit of a bias there. Keeps showing us the Pogonina Goyashkina game. Well, I have a bit of a Vityugov Svidler bias here, since I'm only doing the show to watch our friend Peter Svidler trying to win his title. But it's a sign of the times. I'm complaining about something that I did not have 5 minutes ago. Like they very thankfully allowed me to use the live camera, which I wasn't planning with. And now I'm complaining that the live camera doesn't do exactly what I want. It's like that, it's probably not an ideal reference these days, but it's like that Louis C.K. bit about Wi-Fi on the plane. Svidler, he's smelling something. Chances. He went queen d6, rook f2. Looks like a good move, trying to keep white, keep black occupied on the f-file. But still, these guys are weak. This is still a bit of a weakie. And there are the ideas to give a check on the h-file in the distant future. There are chances. Queen e5 played. Has a chat turned into a Lord of the Rings discussion? I'm reading. Why did they walk to Mordor? Why didn't they just fly on the eagles? Yeah, but you could make these arguments about pretty much any movie, any adventure movie. Didn't ruin my enjoyment. I get more annoyed about the eagles in one of these Hobbit movies. I think it was the first one, where the eagles save them, and then the eagles fly them somewhere for like 3 kilometers, and then they have another 10 kilometers or 2 movies on foot when the eagles could have just taken them all the way. But yeah, there is a point that the eagles, they're sort of joining the action a little late in the Lord of the Ring thing, right? We are only joining the action here slightly late. I only missed the first 11 rounds of the classical tournament. But now, I'm a big fanboy of this rook d8, rook h8 maneuver. Svidler instead offers the exchange of queens, and even without queens, he would have chances. I think the white king was so weak that keeping them on might have been even better. Still, even here, rook goes here, and then rook b3 looming. These pawns are weak. Action. And both players are down to pretty much playing by hand, playing with increment. So maybe the board is sort of blocking the view. Maybe we can just stare at the full screen a little bit and see what's going on. It's a massive spoiler alert coming, but in this position, Vityugov goes for the attack. And I don't think it works. Check out the clock. 12 seconds. 11, 10, 7, 6, 5. And he understands the endgame is a little unpleasant. So instead, he goes for knight h5 check. And Svidler immediately spots that there's no perpetual. Queen g5. And after king f8, it doesn't look like white has a lot of checks. Yeah, tough spot for Vityugov, going for the worst endgame, suffering, or playing for tricks. But there you could see the tiniest of blinks, like the bit of a mental head shake that, yeah, this doesn't really go anywhere. He tries queen h6 check. But now even bishop g7 seems to cover everything. King to e8, Svidler, even better. Eliminates his king from the danger zone, makes sure there's no further checks. And Vityugov has to resign, so Svidler wins the first tiebreak game with the black pieces. Shout out to Peter Svidler, who's now, of course, in a great position. Needs a draw, even though one should always play normally, blah, 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 not play for a draw. In the next game with the white pieces to capture, I keep saying this, I hope it's right, Russian individual title, number 8. In the meantime, Goryashkina managed to convert her slightly better endgame against Pogonina as well, queening the d-pawn here, king e1, d2 check. And that means that both Svidler and Goryashkina are now heavy favorites, or yeah, I think heavy favorites is fair, to win their respective titles. And what's the schedule? I'll ask Colin. Colin knows everything. Normally the breaks aren't very long between such games, like 5 minutes maybe. But I'll try to get confirmation. Time to catch up with the chat. What's happening? Ahmed Salah number 3 says, Jan today is a bit off, isn't he? Yeah, I guess so. I'm sorry. I came up with the idea of covering this the very last minute, so I'm not my usual super prepared, serious self. But thanks for pointing it out, Ahmed Salah number 3. I'll try to do better in the next game. Jameson is saying, come on boys, Sweetie's got this. Yeah, it looks good for him now, but let's not jinx him. It's always psychologically, even though of course it's a good prompt to have, psychologically tricky situation to know that a draw is enough with the white pieces. Because how do you play? Do you play your normal openings? Do you try to force a draw in some theoretical line? Do you try to exchange pieces? Many people have gone astray in such spots. Then again, it's still, if you had to choose between which situation do you want in a 2-game match, you pretty much want to win the first game with black. So as I said, it's a good prompt to have. But life goes on. Freya La Pen, Shia LaBeouf, says, someone switched Jan's coffee to decaf. Yeah, I don't have enough coffee. Maybe that is the problem. Once again, thank you for pointing it out. Maybe I should use this chance to get a coffee. What's going on? Did Lawrence do his old thing of congratulating Peter prematurely? He did that during the World Cup once, so if he did it again, he must be referencing to that, which, yeah, I'm sure he finds funny. Evans Gambit is asking, Jan, will Peter play some stronger tournaments? Grand Chess Tour, Norway Chess Classic, since he is again in top 10. Well, you normally can't decide yourself if you play in these tournaments. You need to qualify or get invited. I don't know. I'm guessing for the Grand Chess Tour, well, he played in Sinkfield Cup this edition, and he's going to play in Vikings, so it's not like he hasn't played any of the super tournaments. But let's hope so, that he grabs some more of these invitations for Norway Chess. Of course, being in the top 10 will help. And King of Lego People was joking about Lawrence's tweet, apparently. Ugh, don't be so meta, guys. I assume everything everybody says on the internet is true. And now I have insulted our dear friend Lawrence Trent because you led me astray. King of Lego People. And Freya Pen confirms that this would be Peter's 8th Russian individual championship title, which is pretty amazing if you consider it's not exactly a bad or a weak chess country, right? They have a bunch of decent players. Like even in this Superfinal, even without Grishuk and Kramnik and Kayakin, look at the lineup. There's no weak spots, and to win these tournaments consistently, and of course many of those that he won had Kramnik and Kayakin and or Grishuk and so on. So yeah, shout out to him. I'm also reading, is Fiedler still working for Chess24? Well, he's coming to Hamburg next week at least. Hopefully he'll do the occasional banter blitz, or I'm not sure. I'll first let him play this tiebreak, then we'll discuss what he'll do. But he'll stop by for a couple days, and I certainly hope we'll find time to do some more commentary in the new year as well. Unfortunately, not for Vikings Day, but for the best of reasons, because Fiedler is playing in that one. And Perpetual Stalemate is saying everything on the internet is true indeed. It's a quote by Abraham Lincoln. I've watched some movie about Abraham Lincoln, not the Spielberg movie, that seemed a bit tense, but I've watched Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer. Wasn't as good as I thought from the title. Vampire Hunter? Wasn't that good. But yeah, he seemed like a skilled vampire hunter, so I'm not surprised that he would predict that people would say the truth on the internet. I'm currently working, because since I keep reading the question, on a video series about the, or let's say some of the Alpha Zero games against Stockfish. I'm gonna try to make a wide repertoire against the Queen's Indian out of it, because 5 of the 10 published games that I've seen were in the Queen's Indian, so I thought we might as well try to learn some openings out of it too. I don't have any like deep takes about machine learning and Monte Carlo algorithm and neural networks and is AI good or bad or whatnot. So I'm not that smart, but I'm sure if you go to YouTube, there will be plenty of talk about Alpha Zero, Alpha Go, Alpha Omega, all the good stuff. In the meantime, stay tuned for my video series, which I'll publish on Chess24 about 5 of the cooler games, because the games were amazing and fun to watch for sure. So yeah, I'll bring it out there. Bring it out there. I am a little off today. Mr. Dodgy is saying Jan and Pepe are the yin and yang of commentators. Perfect balance of complete disinterest and hysteria. You're always cheering me up, Mr. Dodgy. Thank you. That's a thinly veiled compliment. Maybe the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. Because I strive for complete disinterest. But sometimes someone mentions like a TV show in the chat, and then I get excited for a second. Like, excited for my standards, which is half opening my right eye. Ilya03, Huleberg's Idali, that is his username. It's asking, hello Jan, is Italian game series start of an E5 repertoire or just one series? It's probably just one series, but I did a series on the Marshall a while back, and I'll keep doing series on whatever interests me at that moment in time, and playing against the Italian with black certainly has been a big topic for me and everybody who plays E4, E5 recently. But no, it's not part of some overarching series for now. However, between the Marshall and the Italian series, I think we're covering most bases. Mr. Wonkish is saying, is Jan the boss around here? And for your purposes, yes, Mr. Wonkish. How can I help you? Do you want to speak to a higher up? Do you want to complain that we're not... See, I'm so negative. I'm always assuming bad things. That we're not covering the game yet. 1c4, they just restarted. No video yet, but we'll bring it up once it's back. Interesting choice by Svidler, needing only a draw, which probably he tried to get out of his head. Maybe that's the correct thing to do. And he's played a lot of 1c4 recently. But yeah, not the first move that one would think of. Typically people that only need a draw play 1e4 thinking, okay, there's a lot of sharp forced lines, but in those normally white plays with a draw in hand. So in order to play for a win, black has to go for some more extremes like 1g6 or who knows. Well, instead after c4, you could at least argue that black can play e5, knight f6, d5, get an unbalanced position, and create some more chances to play for win. Then again, there is also a strong argument to be made for play what you know best in these situations. And probably Svidler currently feels the most comfortable with 1c4. I currently feel the most comfortable cutting out. Video. Wow, they have their own promo code. Use the promo code Claudia to get a 10% discount on all products on chess24.com website. All right, who knew? My promo code is better though. While we're discussing promo codes, you get 15% off with mine, right? Yanistan is mine. I don't know how stuff works though. I think with my Yanistan, promo code, you only get stuff of your first purchase. I don't really know. Anyway, all these codes to be figured out. Let's figure out what Vityugov is doing here. And I'm not sure if he's in deep thought or if we are dealing with a bit of lag. Because all the moves that I can see so far. C4, E5, Knight C3, Knight C6, Knight F3. Maybe he's weighing his options here. Knight F6 would be the main move. Maybe he wanted to play the system with G3, Bishop C5, and was surprised by Knight F3. And he plays the move F5, which, yeah, is appropriate in the situation. White is supposed to be a little better after D4, E4, Knight to G5, I believe. Or Knight to E5, I can't remember. Or D5. Well, it's supposed to be a little better, that much I know. But it does lead to sharp, non-standard positions, which is what you want in a must-win situation. And perpetual stalemate explains us that Claudia is the Russian word for chess. Yeah, that is probably true. It's not schach, schachmati. Evans Gamma is asking, is that the line that Peter played against MVL in World Cup? I don't think so. F5, D4, E4. Can you go D5? I'd be tempted to play D5, yeah. But let's figure this out. Takes. Take here, it looks bad, because we can take with check, or we can take here and here. The pawn on F5 looks silly. Take here, it looks better. Now CD7 looks fairly safe for white though. Takes, let's say takes, equal endgame, or slightly better endgame for white. Bishop D7, bishop G2. Well, white might miss his G-pawn. This pawn being on F5 is, I believe, a bigger factor in the position. Vityugov doesn't want simplifications, goes for knight CE7, but that allows white to put his knight on a very nice central square, knight D4. And this looks very nice for white already. For example, after knight F6, you can probably push, no? Push it good. D6 CD, knight DB5. The black position is already crumbling. So, yeah, the also common occurrence that black takes big risks to create a non-standard game. But the problem is with taking these big risks with black, you can end up in fairly grim situations. Here after knight C7, knight D4. This looks horrible for black already. Something similar happened to Bu Shangji against Fiddler in the World Cup, where Bu Shangji also lost his game with white. I believe it was a tiebreak as well. And then had to play for a win with black and just got a horrible, horrible position out of the opening. Dutch Defender is saying, Jan, would you please make a video for people who don't want to learn theory? Yeah, this is one, for example. Like pretty much all the non-opening videos are for people that want to be around chess but don't want to learn theory. Other than that, you know, my message and my persona is there's no shortcuts, play main lines and so on and so forth. So if you don't want to learn theory, just don't do it. But don't ask for videos teaching you how not to learn theory. That sounds counterintuitive to me. But yeah, one day I might get into this snake oil business. A complete repertoire against one e4 in 12 minutes. You go e4, e6, d4, d5, knight c3 or knight d2. You take on e4, then you go bishop d7, bishop c6, knight d7, knight gf6, bishop e7, short castles. Take whatever knight is on that diagonal. Boom! There you go. Or the Philidor, same thing. Or e4, d5, ed queen d5, then go back with the queen, then go knight f6, c6. Take it from there. Mr. Dodgy is making the same point. Please write a 1000-page book on how to avoid opening theory. I might do that once I'm done with my current book project on how to win a rook up, which is sort of, yeah, it's dragging itself out. So, let's see. What happened here after Nikita sort of, took excessive risks in the opening. He had to play, or he played d6 here to avoid this d6 push. And after f3, he probably couldn't stand looking at a position like this after ef, ef. white is just so much better and takes very little risk because he has all the space in the center. Then instead he decided to try to mix it a bit more by giving that pawn on e4, knight g6, fe, f4. But it's also no compensation. Black just isn't developed enough. Just play e3. Well, easier said than done. E3, king d2. But g3 as well. White's a pawn up. And I do not believe in black's compensation at all. This does happen when you take excessive risks playing for a win with black. But there is no good solution to these situations when you have to win a game on demand against a 2-7, 70 player with black. It's just a bad spot. You have, I don't know, 10% equity maximum, and taking risks and getting a lost position or not doesn't really change it. I'm reading the chat. Is Yanistan going to have Yanistan Chess Open in the near future? Maybe, but it could be that a certain player will start with 5 out of 5 before anybody else has even played a single game. Such things could happen in the Yanistan Chess Open, but it would be for the greater good. Evans Gambit is asking, are these games rated? I have no idea. Probably it's rapid rated, but I don't think the players care very much about their rapid rating yet. This might change in the future. But right now I feel like everybody's still very much into their classical rating and not much into the other ratings. But it could change. Elia03 Hulleberg Sidali says Jan is so funny and now Dance Monkey turn into Radio Jan. Confusing. Ahmed Salah 3 also says Radio Jan please. He already diagnosed myself with low energy. Before that, you're not getting Radio Jan. He doesn't exist. It's me putting on a hat. And I won't do it. So, switch it off. He's not coming. Mr. Dodgy is saying Magnus is pretty good at the must-win thing. Is he? The one must-win situation he had recently where he had to win with black in a knockout match, he did not manage against Bu Shangji. Maybe Mr. Dodgy is referring to Magnus's game against Levon from the last round in London, but yeah, that wasn't a situation where Levon could gain anything by getting a draw. Other than that, I'm not really disputing it, but normally Magnus does not fall behind in these knockouts, and the one he didn't make a comeback, so I'm not sure. And yeah, just aim for a long game, not forcing draws, even if a little worse. It's a strategy, first of all, that works well for Magnus, because he's the best chess player in the world, so he can outplay people even from long, slightly worse positions. And secondly, easier said than done, as I said, if white stands to profit from forcing a draw. But yeah, that is a different strategy. But it's so tough with black to get a position where you're slightly worse in long game and then play for a win. Not easy to do. At least I don't know how to do it. This one black is much worse. But let's try to analyze what's going on. Knight f6, bishop h3, nice move positionally, because if the bishops were to disappear, then this e6 square would just be an eternal outpost for the knight. Therefore, Vityugov pretty much had to play knight g4, keeping this bishop alive. Svidler decided on the move knight e6. There's many good moves here, rook f1, queen a4, check, whatnot. But he decides to force the issue with knight e6, bishop e6, d takes e6. When at least Vityugov could hope that this, what's called the Irish pawn center, will be a bit of a problem in the future. But in the present, white is a pawn up, has this thorn in the flesh on e6 and can increase the pressure by going bishop to f5. So yeah, still fairly grim situation. What's up with the chat? Cara Blue says, Jan commentating, why didn't I know? I didn't know myself like an hour ago. But I thought it would be fun to hang out and watch this tiebreak where Peter Svidler, our friend, tries to win his 8th, believe it or not, Russian championship title. Mr. Dodgy is asking, is there no Chess24 shop with marks ready, Jan head, Svidler masks, etc.? Actually, I've been pushing for a Chess24 shop for a while. I think would be a good idea because I like selling stuff with my face on it. Or I like stuff being sold with my face on it. I wouldn't be the one selling it. But no, I don't think it's there yet. But I'm a fan of Chess24 merchandise, so I hope it will happen one day. Fuxia saying only slow chess is good chess. Nah. I'm not as much of a purist of classical chess yet. I find these rapid and blitz events quite entertaining, mainly as a spectator. It's just action, you know. They make moves every couple seconds often, which they don't do in slow chess. But yeah, it's just the situation where Vitugo finds himself in. That's very desperate. Let's have a look how Pogonina handles it. Also doesn't look great. Pogonina also has to win her game in order to come back and make it to the Armageddon against Alexandra Goryashkina. But she's also worse, no? Rook e1, e5. Played the Philidor with ed4. And this queen d4 is a fairly solid line. Knight e7, trying to mix it a little. Bishop g5, f6, bishop e3, knight g6, castles, bishop e7. Queen c4, stopping to castle. Knight e5, takes, f4. g3, queen d7. Yeah, gonna be very hard for Pogonina to make anything happen here as well. White could go for e5. Well, rook e1 and then e5, not hanging the rook. But white could also just stand and say, okay, good luck creating winning chances. Won't be fun. Yori is saying, finally got a bit of a break from all the studying, got finals in a month? You still have 1 month till your finals and you're already doing all the studying? That's a bad example for us procrastinators out there. JB is saying a variety of Yanistan paraphernalia could be featured in the shop as well. I do agree. And I like the word paraphernalia. What song is that? This is killer. Paraphernalia? I don't know. Did Svidler play bishop f5? Yeah, why wouldn't you? That's a nice bishop. Defending the pawns. Attacking the dude. Queen c7, he wants to castle here. But really? No, he wants to play bishop e7 and then castle here. Not running into e7 check. How do you do this, Peter? He played queen b3. Queen a4 might have been even more lethaler. Threatening knight d5. And I'm telling you this because I have a chess engine running now. I feel so smart. Vegan is asking, Jan, do you plan to play in the Chess Train tournament in Poland in October 2018? I do not. Fuxia says, I want a No Lawrence, that's not how chess works t-shirt. Yeah, there's many ideas for t-shirts out there. Defenestrated is asking, Jan, are you doing commentary for Tata Steel? Honest answer, I do not know yet. We haven't really made plans. Since Svidler is playing, we can't drag him here to commentate. So I'll look at our options. I'm guessing I'll do something either in German or in English. I honestly don't know yet. But we'll figure it out. There will be some commentary in one form or another for sure. Ahmed Salah 3 says, is it a chat commentary or Russian Superfinal video? Come on. Oh, I'm guessing he's saying I should focus more on the game and read out less of the chat, even though I've read out a lot of his expert feedback, like that I seem a little off today, or that one. But I do, of course, try to especially please Ahmed Salah number 3. And therefore, let's talk about the position. Svidler's still winning, even after queen b3, b6. Vityugov is trying to prepare long castle, which had he done it immediately, that would be bishop takes a7. But that's why he went b6. But it's still fairly hopeless. For example, bishop f4 castle takes d5, rook d8. Queen d8, rook d1, followed by rook d7. All right, what's up with the chat? Superfinal is saying there are a lot of us procrastinators. Yeah, I think it's human nature, but I might be wrong. Alvin K is saying my sole goal in life is to have matching signed mugs by Peter and Jan in my kitchen. That sounds like a lofty goal. Like when you do your New Year's resolutions, I would never aim that high. Like my resolutions will be something like finish Godless on Netflix in the year 2018. Stuff like that. And Elias is still hoping that Rapid is chess future. Has not changed his mind about it. What happened there? Well, I was... Who resigned and what? This was confusing. My game just disappeared. I guess Vityugov just could not stand the look of his position anymore and did resign already, ending his suffering. That means that Peter Svidler did indeed make it and win his 8th Russian individual title. Congratulations to Peter Svidler. That is an amazing achievement. To win 8 country championships in the strongest chess country in the world is, I don't know, unprecedented. That's certainly absolutely amazing. Kudos to him. Side effect is he's also in the top 10 and he won himself a car and some monies. So good day at the office for Peter Svidler. Congratulations to him. We here at Chess24 are very happy that he's made it, and I'm even happier that he's coming to town next week, I believe on the 19th. So stay tuned for Peter Svidler events. I'm not sure what we'll do, but I'm sure we'll do Banter Blitz, maybe record some videos, maybe think of something else. And yeah, there was a quick end, and my game here has disappeared. Let me... bring it back up and then maybe do a little recap. But yeah, it's one of these situations where the odds are stacked against you. And Vityugov tried to... why am I such an idiot? 1 second. That's a topic for a different day. Yeah, Vityugov tried to make it murky, but he paid too high a price here. After c4, e5, knight c3, knight c6, knight f3. f5 I can still get behind, even though, using the power of hindsight, he should have played something normal, knight f6, d5, blah, blah, blah. But f5, d4, e4, so far so good. And Svidler here made a good practical decision, I believe, playing the move d5, offering black some simplifications after ef3, dc6, fg, cd, but very low winning chances. Instead, Vityugov felt the need to keep peace on the board, played knight ce7, but that's just giving up too much ground. And if you just look at the position here after knight ce7, knight d4, you can already see that something has gone very, very wrong. White just has all the space in the center, and all black has accomplished is weaken his king early on. And Peter Svidler is just too strong to be given such a position. Vityugov then tried to complicate things by sacrificing this pawn, but Svidler stayed in control, and here many moves were good. Rook f1, just keeping this king Queen a4 check, bishop d7, knight cb5 is how computers want to do it. This probably wins on the spot, but you, as a human, you don't step into that pin. Svidler just, kept things under control. Went knight e6, takes, knight e5, bishop f5. Vityugov tried to continue the game by bringing his king to safety. But in order to do that, he would need to move c6, bishop e7, b6, and then long castle. And that is a very far-fetched plan. So after knight e7, long castles, b6, bishop f4, as mentioned, just sort of ruins the remainders of the black position by threatening bishop e5, followed by rook d7, or if long castle, bishop e5, d, rook d8, queen d8, rook d1. This rook comes to d7, and the position just collapses immediately. No need to analyze much further here. Therefore, Vityugov had seen enough after his opening experiment. Did not work out, but of course he will look back to the white game where he let this tiebreak get out of hand. Svidler will be happy winning this tiebreak 2-0, even though who cares, he also would have accepted a draw for here, winning the car, winning the money, I'm repeating myself, and most importantly, making history by grabbing individual title number 8. Congratulations. I will check out for a minute if Goyashkina will join Svidler. No, she's worse actually. Because she tried to simplify the position by taking on f6 here, which I believe is a mistake. And now after gf, we have opposite colored bishops, but the black bishop is better than the white bishop, because white, well, you can never go e5, and this bishop does a perfect job targeting this pawn. Well, obviously, the dark square bishop can't really defend the pawn. And he doesn't really have targets of his own. So after rook e6, rook d e8. One day, this e4 pawn should fall. And then, if you keep some pieces on the board, there's always excellent winning and attacking chances with opposite colored bishops. So this looks fairly decent for Pogonina. Just as I said, she can't play e5. She plays e5, which makes a lot of sense because of the pin, which of course I had expertly missed. F takes e5. Now rook e5, but there's still tactics. Queen e6, attacking this guy and this guy. No, still trouble for Pogonina. I will wrap up the show around here. I hope the ladies will forgive me. I only did this show because I wanted to cheer on Peter Svidler in his quest to win another title. He's managed to grab the title. Our congratulations. Yeah, stay tuned for Peter coming to Hamburg in the upcoming week. If you want to see an interview with him, I'm guessing it's going to happen in the official live show. I'm not sure if in Russian or in English, but check it out. I'll stop polluting the airways, and especially I'll stop disappointing Ahmed Salah number 3, because he was very unhappy with the show that we forced him to watch at this late hour. So my apologies for that. Congratulations to Peter Svidler. I'll see you guys around. Full screen? Oh yeah, title. GM, Grandmaster. See you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.